Hello, I'm Gus Downing, publisher and editor of the D&D Daily, and this is the LP News Network. We're here today with Mark Stinde, Vice President, Asset Protection for 7-Eleven. With the retail market shrinking and e-commerce continuing to make such an impact on the brick and mortar stores, the likelihood of you having to face major career decisions is higher now than ever before. Odds are that 75% of you will face a major career change during the course of your career, and quite frankly, one of the most restricting things we do to ourselves, and retailers have a tendency to do it to us as well, is that we typecast ourselves. We stay in the world we feel most comfortable in. We shy away from risk. We automatically feel that because we only have discount, specialty, or just one type of retail experience, that we have to stay in that world because that's what we know. We look at those other retailers and think that's totally different. They have a different customer. They sell things I don't know anything about. And in some cases, they even say, I don't want to work in that environment. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you that after 25 years of being an executive recruiter in LP, that you've all got it wrong and you're doing yourself and your family a terrible injustice and you're not following your dreams. Now, you may be comfortable and you may be well taken care of, and I respect that. But at the end of the day, you're either going to be forced to face some decisions, or one day you may regret not going for it. But those decisions are yours to make, and I'm here to tell you that the number one way to do it is by expanding your vision and realizing that LP is LP regardless of the box. Which brings us to today's guest, Mark Stinde, the VP of Asset Protection for 7-Eleven. And yes, it's convenience stores, a channel some look down on, but it's one of the fastest paced, most challenging environments out there. And Mark has completely reinvented it. And he's done that in a number of different boxes, from specialty to big box to C stores. Mark has mastered making those changes. Mark, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Gus.
Let's start out with the first big change you made in your career, going from Toys R Us to Home Depot. I mean, how did you manage that change, and what made you successful?
Sure, so first I'll talk about Toys R Us. That was my first loss prevention role where really they focused on operational controls. It wasn't just catching the bad guy. I really learned how to be a business person, learned how to build business plans. And so it was a nice transitional role from really previous experience that had me in more bad guy catching. And so when the Home Depot opportunity came along, I guess maybe I'm a risk taker, but I wasn't, maybe to my surprise, I wasn't completely concerned about the ability to transition into this new world. It was a very, very complex business. Now I was lucky because I was coming from a retailer that had a really solid loss prevention program, but it took a lot of work. And I think, if you think about the new opportunity, when you take that opportunity, it's really, how do you get into the details of the business? How do you understand how the business works, what the culture of the company is, what the people see as important, and you can't just plug and play what you've had somewhere else and bring that into the new business. And so I went into the Home Depot, I learned about the service desk and how we sold to contractors and the difference between a DIY customer and a pro customer when they come into our stores. That was key to understand the business so that you could understand where the gaps were in the business and how you could identify where the issues were, whether it be a safety issue or a shrink issue in your stores.
You did extremely well over there. I mean, you even progressed to a safety director's job with absolutely no background or experience in that. I mean, how did you manage that? How did you get into that job? I mean, a director of safety for a major division doing multi-billion dollars in volume. How did you handle that?
Well, I think, first of all, we've all been responsible at some time in our career in loss prevention for at least incident intake on safety incidents, or really, trying to, help, with the slip and fall issues or ingress, egress issues in the stores. So I had some exposure to that, but, the Home Depot was facing several things. The Home Depot was facing some fatalities that had occurred in the stores, and along with that, they were facing the issues around hazardous waste. And those were two really big issues. So it was not just a safety issue, it was truly an environmental health and safety issue. And so we were looking at all aspects of an EHS world. And so, first off, Just like any role I've taken, you had to become educated on what that piece of the business was. Home Depot did a nice job. They went out and they brought in the National Safety Council, and they took us all through certification. So from an academic perspective, we're able to learn some of the OSHA statutes and hazardous material disposal and some of those things that we really didn't know. But again, it was immersing yourself into that business, understanding really what are the key metrics in the business. And for me, I always think of it, it's ones and zeros. I'm not managing shrink, I'm managing workers' compensation and the rate and return to work and severity. I'm also managing general liability. And so understanding that business and then knowing how to prevent and how to take action to prevent issues in those
and
environments.
applying basic management skills
Yes.
to the people.
Yes.
Bottom line.
Yes.
And then you go over to Circuit City, knowing that it was on the ropes. Even everyone in the industry was even kind of saying, why would he do that? Can you explain that and why you went over to Circuit City?
Well, first of all, I looked at the financials of that company. They had $1 billion worth of cash when I took the job. They'd seen negative sales trends, and they'd certainly made some bad decisions in the business. But I looked at the opportunity. I was in a divisional vice president role, reporting to a vice president.
First DVP job in your career.
At Sears.
Okay.
And this was an opportunity for me to be the pyramid head of the organization.
You mean at Circuit City?
At Circuit City,
Okay.
to really own that strategy. So part of the decision was, I didn't think that 2008 and 9 were going to happen.
Who did?
And exactly. And quite honestly, I don't think not that company would have suffered a similar fate, but I think if it hadn't have been for 2008 and 2009, it would have been a different picture for us, and we probably would have made it out of 11.
Really?
Yeah. But it was an opportunity for me to run my own program. It was an opportunity for me to build my own strategy and to work with my team to reinvent what was going on at Circuit City. And so for me, that was the opportunity that appealed to me. Quite honestly, that experience going through the bankruptcy,
Right.
learning how to protect inventory in an environment where you've announced store closures, those were great insights that I'd never give back.
Did you shut down the whole organization? Did you stay to the end?
I did, sir.
So you're talking about, going from that 50% off, 40% off, the reverse, the 20, 30, 40, 50% off just to empty the stores.
Yes.
Okay, so that must have been extremely risky and from an extent, increasing exposures and everybody in the world potentially stealing from the company.
Yes.
How did you manage that?
Well, so it's interesting. We had a great inventory management program there. Our cycle count program was probably the best that I've been exposed to. And so we put in place, we actually engaged a third party. We brought them into our highest risk stores every day, and they counted our top 50 SKUs. It was a quick visit, but it was able to give us visibility to see if television sets and flat
Right.
panels were walking out the front door.
And the employee and the management and employees knew it.
Yes.
They were coming every day.
Absolutely. We had one store in Atlanta, Georgia, that we fired the entire staff because they basically emptied the store out. But we identified that through this process,
Right.
and then word travels fast, and we're able to prevent those losses in other stores.
So then we're going to skip over to the 7-Eleven because you had a stint at Sears. But let's go to 7-Eleven. How in the world did you get that job? No C-store experience at all. No high robbery rate type of exposures. How did you manage that, getting that job and so on?
So it's, we talk about it all the time. It's about building great networks. And I had an executive that had gone over to 7-Eleven that knew me from previous experience and had recommended that they speak to me. One of the first questions was, you're not a C-store guy.
Yeah.
How are you going to come in here and figure this out? And it's different. And really, I said the same thing that I've said on anytime taking a new opportunity is, look, I will immerse myself in this business. I spent 12 weeks in the store when I got there. I learned how to order donuts. I learned how to do the cash report every day and reconcile the deposit. I learned every aspect of that business. And then after doing that, I had credibility because I could speak to my team, not only about the asset protection, loss prevention issues, but also I could talk to them about operational issues within the stores. And every executive at 7-Eleven goes through that type type of training. The good news is I had a great team. We spent time really dissecting the program that existed, figuring out what was working well, figuring out what worked well elsewhere. And again, you couldn't plug and play Circuit City at 7-Eleven, but you could certainly take aspects of that business and the things that we had done there and remodel them to work in a convenience store environment.
Right.
And we've been able to be very successful, really reinventing the program at 7-Eleven.
So you've gone from all different various types of retailers. I mean, specialty, big box, C-stores, I mean, all different types. And there's a transition there, and you've been very successful at it. Do you have any advice for the LP executives out there now about how they should approach it, how they should look at it? What are some of the things they can do?
Well, I think first of all, don't be afraid to take an opportunity. And quite honestly, that opportunity could be within your own company. I spent a couple years as a district manager in operations, and that was great experience. I don't know that I ever want to go back to be an operator, but I enjoyed my time when I was in operations. And so, whether it be an opportunity within your organization to expand your capabilities, or if it's an opportunity with another company in outside of your comfort zone, in a place that you've not been, if you're a smart person and you're dedicated to learning, and you don't go in and try to act like you've got it all figured out, you're going to be successful. And I would urge folks to take those opportunities when they're presented, even if it means moving from the locale you're in, because that certainly will help advance your career as well.
Mark, thanks for being here.
Thank you, guys.
Well, that's it for this episode, ladies and gentlemen. We'd like to thank you for watching, and until next time, let's keep them all safe out there.